Hi, welcome back. Today I have another fake true stories of landscape for you. And on a sad note, this will be the second to the last fake true stories of landscape. Let's have fun. So today I was weed eating over at right next to my house at the rec center. And before we even got started, I went up to my boss, John Davis, and I said, "Listen, man, I need to know what's going on because this is bull poopy. I can't take it anymore, man. I'm stressing out. All these snakes and bees and jaguars and giant robots. I mean, what's it all about? Why are the North Koreans here? And who is the king of Orange Beach?" And as John Davis was about to open his mouth, giant robots dropped out of the sky and just started attacking stuff. And it was crazy. And so I did what I usually did. I just kind of slumped over, because, I've gotten pretty used to it now, and just watched the events unfold. John Davis said, "Hold that thought." He put on his Auburn helmet, transformed into a humanoid eagle thing. It was about 10 feet tall, and I would have chosen the T-Rex, but he went with the 10-foot tall eagle thing and flew off to do battle with one of the machines. And then, of course, we're having a kind of a group meeting, so all the other guys went into combat. Dalton pulled out his axe and took off to combat one of the machines, followed by Eddie. But something was happening with Eddie Osborne. His bees weren't cooperating. And then I noticed something on one of the bees as it flew by. It had a little red star on it. And I figured that the bees were working for the North Koreans. And so communism was just, running through its blood and is corrupt. And so Eddie was like, "What's wrong with these bees?" And I said, "I think they might be communist bees." And he looked over at me and he said, "That makes sense." And like in a second, he grabbed them all up in one hand and squeezed them. And out came pure black evil, and it just kind of melted into the ground. And I said, "Well, what are you going to do now?" And he said, "Well, I always have two different ways of getting armor." And so he did this whistling thing, and his Camaro, it's a black Camaro, it pulled up next to him, and it kind of like morphed onto his body. So he had like this giant black Camaro armor. It was pretty cool. And he he just jumped off and started attacking the machines. Oddly enough, the Camaro body was a lot stronger than the bees, and he was able to fight on a more even level with the communist North Korean death robots. And then Kyle Cooper said, "I don't think these knives are going to be enough." So he put them both down and grabbed a chainsaw. And the chainsaw really didn't have any kind of symbolism at all. He just thought it looked cool. And he just jumped off and turned into like this chainsaw tornado, which I thought was pretty awesome. And then Ryan did what he usually does, and he just emptied all of his rounds. And I told him, I was like, "Man, that must be real expensive." He said, "More than you know." And then immediately pulled out this anti-tank rifle pistol. And I said, "Do you have a pistol for everything?" He said, "Well, not for making my kids go to sleep." And then unloaded the weapon into the machines. And then it was just me. And I said, "Well, how can I help? I mean, how do I help anyway?" And actually, they're doing pretty good this time. There might have been more machines, but they were just destroying them as they came along. And then there's this particularly large Korean death robot that popped out of the sky. And this one opened up, it had like this hatch, and the hatch opened, and out came this real pale, fat-looking Asian. And he said something, I don't know, but then he used real broken English, and I'm not going to try to do the broken English he used because it sounds racist. So he said, bow before your new leader. And of course, Ryan Owen spoke fluent Korean and said something back to him, and he was close enough to me, and I said, what did you say back to him? He said, I don't bow before anybody but God, and you ain't God. And I said, cool. And then the guy said, you will bow before Kim Jong-un. And Ryan said in Korean, no, we won't. And something along the lines of your mama. I don't think the translation was correct. And so Kim Jong-un then jumped out of his robot, and it got dark all of a sudden. The sky got real dark, and he kind of approached, and I was like, man, he's a lot more pale than I remember him on the TV. And Kyle tried to attack him with the chainsaw, and he grabbed the chainsaw, crushed it, and then knocked Kyle out of the way. Eddie tried to attack him, and he knocked Eddie out of the way. Dalton grabbed him, was able to hold him and start to squeeze, but then Kim Jong-un just kind of knocked his arms away and took him down as well. And then John Davis, and then Ryan, and then he came up to me. And I said, I don't want none of that mess. Please leave me alone. And he said, you. I said, me what? He said, you tell me where the king of Orange Beach is. And I looked over to the guys, and they're all kind of just shaking their heads. I was like, I don't know who the king of Orange Beach is. And he lifted me up. I'm 300 pounds, and he just lifted me up with his hand. He just holding me there and squeezing. He's like, you tell me where king of Orange Beach is. I said, I don't know. But then John was doing this little motioning, and I was like, what are you talking about? He said, get him to the ocean. And I said, okay. So I was like, he's over by Harrison Park. Come with me. And he's like, okay. And he jumped, and we landed right at Harrison Park. And he said, where's King of Orange Beach? And I said, pretty sure he's off into the water a little bit. And then I saw what John was leading to, and it was Jeff Cullen, and he was riding this even larger than normal wave. And I also noticed something in the wave was Dalton's shark. I didn't even think I thought the shark was dead, but he was swimming up in there, and it wasn't just the shark. It was a whole bunch of the same sized sharks in this giant wave. And I guess Kim Jong-un didn't notice until it was too late, and he'd gotten slammed into the ground by this giant wave. And Jeff just kind of said, "Sup?" I said, "I'm pretty sure you just saved the day here." And that's what I said to Jeff. And Jeff said, "Cool." And he kind of just turned and started walking as if he was going to do some weed eating. But then out of nowhere, shark bodies were just being tossed left and right, and up jumps Kim Jong-un. And Jeff turns to him, and Jeff is like 8'13". I mean, the guy is just nuts tall. And Jeff said, "Oh no." To be finished and continued on tomorrow night's fake True Stories Landscape. It'll be the last one because they're just getting so crazy. I hope you guys have a great day. Like and share on your Facebook. If you just hit the like button, which is like right below the picture of this, and then the share, and then all your friends will get to see it, and they could choose whether or not they like and share it. But man, I love you guys. You guys have a great night, and be happy.